All right, man, peace. So, brothers, very unfortunately, we live in a Babylonian society where it is the modus operandi to always set the genders at variance or at odds with one another. And the reason why they do that is to constantly keep men's minds occupied with having to compete with women. And the woman loves to be a distraction. She will try to proactively entice the man into not focusing on what he needs to be focused on, particularly in the so-called black community. And as I always state, this is a pro-truth channel geared towards the so-called black man, because whatever issues exist in this Babylonian society, they're accentuated in the so-called black community because we refuse to recognize who our head is. The head of the so-called black man is the Most High and his son. But because the so-called black man refuses for the most part to acknowledge that, all of the issues that abound in this society are amplified in the so-called black community. One of them being the detachment between the so-called black man and his son. And that's an essential aspect that we have to restore. Because however destroyed the men are, is how destroyed the nation is, or your race is, or whatever you want to call it. There is no strong race, there is no strong nation, unless the man is the head. That's why they're constantly trying to celebrate the so-called black woman in this society and trying to make her believe that she's not being celebrated. Like Michelle Obama or Michael Obama, whatever you want to call that person, loves getting on TV and talking about how we spend too much time with our sons, celebrating our sons, and not enough time with our daughters. Why is she saying that? Because she hates men. Okay? Michelle Obama is a man hater. She's jealous of men. She's jealous of Barack Obama, even though Barack Obama is confused, to put it lightly. But that's another video for another day. The point being is this: we have to concentrate on our sons so that they can understand who they're supposed to be. And hopefully they can improve our condition for however much longer we're in this captivity. And I've touched on this in the past in some of my other videos. One of the main reasons why the so-called black man is so frustrated is because many of the strategies that cats try to employ involve self-aggrandizement. Brothers always want credit in their lifetime. And we have to understand that part of being a great parent or a great forefather or a great elder or whatever is the understanding that we might not see the restitution in our lifetime. We might not see the quote unquote reparation in our lifetime. We might not see the fall of our enemies in our lifetime. We have to live according to the notion that we have to make things better for the next generation. And that starts by making sure that we focus on who we're cohabiting with, who we're procreating with, how we're raising our children, what are the standards that we're setting for ourselves and for our children, especially our sons. Because our sons are the enemy in this society. There's no getting around that. The woman is not a threat. No woman of any race is a threat. The woman is used as a pawn. And whatever race of man is in power, every woman of every other nation is going to look to that man as the standard. That is why when they concoct this notion about the wage gap, it's always how much money women of all races make in comparison to the Caucasian man. Okay? So we have to focus back on our sons. Of course, we love our daughters and we focus on them as well. But the son is going to be the key to our upliftment as a people. Why am I saying all this? Because right now our sons are so neglected that they're running around up and down throughout this society, causing havoc not only in the so-called black community, but amongst other quote-unquote communities as well. And in order for us to be productive, our sons have to get in line. Even in the scriptures, for example, it tells you about the issues that would pervade the so-called black community, especially the so-called young black man, once we decided that we were going to forsake the understanding that the Most High and his son are our head. When you read Isaiah 51:20, it tells us, "Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net." Whenever you see the so-called black man all over these various so-called hoods, they always stand on the corner looking to see who they can harass, who they can harangue, oftentimes what type of trouble they can get into. And it's because they're not given proper purpose. We have to give our sons a proper purpose. And that can only start when the so-called black man takes over his household. The woman cannot run the household. And you have plenty of them who come on the internet. I'm a strong black woman. I'm a single mother. All those are programs that have been installed into the head of the so-called black woman by this society at large. Especially the guru of the modern liberal black woman, that being the liberal Caucasian woman. And the liberal Caucasian woman gets her ideologies from the liberal Caucasian man, particularly the liberal Caucasian Jewish man. But once again, we have to give these boys focus and something to concentrate on, man. Because that's why even in the Christian church, they tell you that an idle mind is the devil's playbox or the devil's toolbox or whatever the saying is. But it's very pertinent. It's very true. A lot of these boys, they have no direction. So they end up getting involved in these gangs and these little cliques that go out to rob and, and pillage, mug people. They have no respect for authority. They have no respect for their elders. When I say their elders, I'm talking about older people. Even though the concept of an elder is supposed to entail much more than age, is also supposed to entail wisdom, but that's another video for another day. Even in Ecclesiasticus, the 30th chapter and the 13th verse, it tells us, chastise thy son and hold him to labor. Meaning what? You have to give these young boys something to do. They have to have a focus, man. It says, chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. So, you know, at all times, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do with our sons, they're going to do things that embarrass us. How many times you look at the news and you see these news stories or these reports about a black boy robbing people, beating up old women? They're in court looking stupid with a very dour look on their face. Their families in court crying, so on and so forth. Why is that? Because his lewd behavior embarrassed them. So we have to focus on the so-called black boy because he's supposed to become a so-called black man who's supposed to lead his family. That's how we change the paradigm. That's how we alter what's going on in this society to the best of our ability. So anyway, this story right here involves a group of young black boys who decided that they were going to become involved in a violent robbery spree. So they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Newsstands are suddenly being targeted in a midtown crime spree. Several newsstands have been robbed and workers attacked. CBS News' Dave Carlin has more.
When I saw from here that I shout, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Mohammed Haq manned this newsstand Tuesday when it was surrounded by 4 suspects seen in this surveillance video. They are identified by police as violent teenage thieves who worked in pairs. The first 2 seen here stole candy and made sure Haq saw it.
Now look at these little boys over here. The first one on the left, of course, has his buttocks showing. That's another style of dress that, for whatever reason, has remained in the so-called black community for the last 30 years. Dudes walking up and down the street with half their ass out. That's supposed to be a sign of being a so-called thug or being tough. It's really just a sign of being a catamite or a boy lover to a grown man, because that's what's going to happen to them once they go to prison or to jail. They're going to get turned out into that so-called DL thug lifestyle, where a grown man is forcing them to be their girlfriend in prison. That's what's going to happen to these young boys if somebody does not assist them in becoming better people. Or they're going to run into the wrong person and they're going to end up looking dead into the barrel of that Nina Trey. That's what's going to happen.
Bringing him out to the West 57th Street sidewalk near 8th Avenue.
I tell them, why you are doing this? But no answer.
It was a distraction, so the other 2 teens could do this.
And bet money all 4 of these boys have no father in the home.
Slip inside the newsstand to get money out of the register. It happened fast. Haq was outnumbered.
There are 4 people, 5 people. How can I fight them? Police came here and take picture, video.
Police say.
Now, if this person happened to have a pistol on him and shot 2 or 3 of these boys, all of a sudden there'd be these advocacy groups and these activist groups talking about you didn't have to shoot him. Once you decide that you're going to take something from another person, they have the right to do whatever they need to do to protect what's theirs, even if it means take your life. A lot of people do not grasp that because we live in a time period of entitlement where everybody thinks that they should be able to disrespect other people and you let it go. A lot of people are not going to let it go, especially when every dollar matters to them. If that man had a gun on him and he'd have shot 2 or 3 of those boys, people would have been very upset right now. But we have to do what we have to do to controvert these issues as so-called black men. We can't look to other people to be merciful or to be understanding. We have to change the paradigm to the best of our ability. That's how we're going to reattain that spot as leaders in our household. That's where it starts. And that's one of the main problems. You know, cats keep trying to get all these accolades out in the street. They want people to give them credit as being a great leader, and they want people who do not even know them to give them all of this credit and these wanton accolades and these platitudes as being a phenomenal leader, and he's strong and he doesn't back down from the white man. But we have to focus on our household first. We have to get our household in order. Once our son understands that you're the head of the household, and now he can replicate you and know what to look for in a woman, that's how you stop a lot of the dumb shit that's going on.
Say what they saw helped them link the teens to a crime spree. The clearest images of the suspects in their hooded sweatshirts are from subway station surveillance cameras.
And let me say this very quickly. These are the type of young dudes who be on the train trying to harass people, trying to harass old women and following people home and trying to hit them upside the head and playing a knockout game and all that. They're going to run into the wrong person, man. I tell you, they're going to run into the wrong dude. And I know a lot of people who carry a lot of stuff on them. And these little dudes, they're going to run into the wrong person one day. And that's why I say that we have to be able to alter what's going on. Because they're getting caught up in lifestyles and life choices where they may have felt like they were forced into it because they're not receiving the proper energy in the household.
Cameras. Police say of the 7 incidents this month, the only one that was not at a newsstand was also on West 57th, where a 39-year-old woman was punched as the teens went for her cell phone on...
See that? They're running around punching 40-year-old women.
...on January 15th. Police say this newsstand on 6th Avenue between 38th and 39th Streets was targeted twice. First on Friday the 18th and then again on Wednesday the 23rd. Scary.
Yeah, this is not good, my friend.
Waseed Jamin works in a store near the newsstand, which is closed this weekend, and knows a 25-year-old worker who was roughed up.
And his pants is 3 people.
So 3 people, so one of the people punched him in the face? With such a wealth of security camera footage, police should get them, is the prediction of this newsstand regular.
And that's the thing that always flabbergasts me. We're living in the age of surveillance. You really think that you're going to run around robbing people and trying to utilize chicanery to steal what's in their register, and you're not going to be on camera? There are cameras everywhere. In this society, cameras should be everywhere.
John Z. Beauchamp.
They don't got nothing else to do. We'll catch them. It's just a matter of time.
I agree with you, sir. And that's the main thing, what he started off his statement with. They have nothing else better to do. They need to be given some type of focus before they run into the wrong person.
It's estimated that going from newsstand to newsstand netted the thieves at least a total of $1,000 in cash. Newsstand workers say their bosses and police tell them don't engage, don't fight back. Just make sure cameras are working and call the police right away. In Midtown, Dave Carlin, CBS 2 News.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. Once again, brothers, the point of this video is that we have to try to alter some of these things that go on by being active in our sons' lives, and that starts by being the head of the household. It does not start by having your so-called baby mama give you permission to spend time with your children. We have to start trying to alter what's going on by making sure that we know the right woman to pick, because most of these females do not respect the masculine principle. So you're already starting out from behind. Once we learn how to either pick the right woman or not even mess with most of these women until we get ourselves together, because a lot of cats need to spend time by themselves to get themselves together before they start a real relationship with most of these broads, because you deal with some of these modern day women, man. That's like going through an amusement park. You have to figure out how bad the rides are before you get on them. But anyway, peace.